Hi guys, welcome to my channel Lush Gardener. I hope you guys are fine and are safe. So a lot of people are confused as in how do you check if your stem cutting has been rooted. Now ideally you guys know that I always tend to let my succulents air root. You remember this one was air rooted. It had really thick pink roots. I'll put the image or the video clip on your right hand side. As you can see on your right hand side, this is how the succulent tend to look like when it was rooting, and then I went ahead and put it into the soil. Now this is after a couple of weeks. Now how do we determine whether the succulent is anchored into the soil? You just gently try to touch the succulent and you can see the succulent is not moving from the pot. Even if I'm going to shake the pot, the succulent is not going to move because the roots are completely anchored in the soil. So this indicates that the roots are all developed and they have been anchored into the soil. Now this was being said about air rooting because I prefer my succulents to be air rooted. But let's say that you have done a cutting of a stem cutting and now the cut has calloused and now you want to put it into the soil. You do not want to wait for it to air root. Now in this case, what is going to happen is, let's say that this succulent has been calloused and now it's ready to be put into the soil. So the moment you're going to put into the soil, you will see the moment you're going to touch the succulent, it is going to move like this. You can see because there are no roots, the succulent is not anchored into the soil. Whereas this one had roots, it is already anchored into the soil. That's why it's not going to move. No matter what I do, it is going to stay stiff because the roots are completely anchored. Whereas this one does not have any roots. With the slightest touch, as you can see, the succulent is going to move. Now guys, I'm not saying that you have to keep moving it every now and then. Wait for some time. It depends again on your environment, how long it's going to take for the succulent roots to appear. And let's say after 2 or 3 weeks you go to touch your succulent and you feel that the succulent is still moving like this, that means that the roots are not yet formed. So that's why I always advise, if you have the time, if you have the space, let them air root. That is going to be much easier. This is little tricky, especially for beginners to understand. Still under the process of forming roots, so it is going to be very weak in the soil. The moment you're going to touch it is going to move. But let's say for example if the roots are already formed, then it's going to be very stiff. You won't be able to move. The moment you're going to gently touch the succulent, you're going to feel that the succulent is stiff in the soil. That indicates that the roots are formed and now the roots have started to anchor into the soil, which means you can go ahead and water it. Again, as I said, it's slightly tricky for beginners. So the best thing what you can do is you can either air root it and then put it into the soil. Wait for 2 or 3 days and then you can water your succulent. If there are wrinkles, you can water it within 2 or 3 days. If there are no wrinkles, if the succulent still looks very fresh, still has no wrinkles on the leaves, then you can water even after 4 or 5 days or even a week, provided that the succulent is well hydrated. But if you start noticing that there are wrinkles, the succulent is stiff in the soil, there are wrinkles on the lower leaves, then you can water after 2 or 3 days. So guys, I hope that this video was helpful to you. If it was, please hit the like button. If you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing to it. Until then, take care, stay safe and keep propagating.